Sal, earlier this morning when you selected this topic, first of all, I agreed with your decision completely, but I was a little concerned that some of the Joe Cop hairballs would say, oh, Sal is not MAGA because he's going against Kristi Noem. But now, once again, you were right on top of it. Kristi Noem, not just in the hot seat, she's actually now been fired. So there you go.
That's right, Jason. And it's good to see you again. We're on an off day right now because I had things to do on Friday. I like Fridays, and I anxiously await your arrival and return to Florida, where we'll do the Friday walk and talks. But this particular subject, which I just was discussing on my own show, on the Sal Greco show, Kristi Noem has been in the hot seat for quite a while. The entire Homeland Security disaster that you've seen from Minnesota all the way through now to Congress, she is the person in charge. What you're finding out is what we've always known. Corey Lewandowski, this little dweeb that should never be anywhere near a government job or anywhere near government. This guy originally was in the Trump campaign. I'll give you the whole story for everyone that wants to know. MAGA, as you like to call it, or we'll like to say the Trump campaign, originated in 2014, and it was at 70th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue, or actually 2nd Avenue, at a place called the Beach Cafe. When you walk in, you go right to the right side. There used to be a rounder table. Now Dave changed it, but there was a round table there. That was Roger Stone's table. That laptop, which he opened every night, and this is how they would discuss how they would move forward with a Trump campaign, was Roger Stone. That laptop, which he still owns, and I still see it every day. The next person that would walk in would be Corey Lewandowski. And Roger brainchilded the beginning of what became the original Trump campaign, and Corey Lewandowski was the sidekick. Then he went on. You remember the whole thing that happened. There it is, the Beach Cafe, the birthplace of MAGA. So people, this is some real knowledge, folks. This isn't
nice
Steve
shrimp
Bannon.
salad.
I'm telling you the absolute truth of how this all started. Which, by the way, go to the Beach Cafe and order yourself a Stone Burger. The owner's a good friend of mine, Dave Goodside. Tell him Sal Greco sent you there. The campaign started in 2014 into 2015. If you remember, then it was a whole big thing that Roger went on air and Trump. And what happened there was Corey Lewandowski started a lot of problems behind the scene. He's never been a guy you could trust, straightforward. Oh, Mr. New Hampshire. And what happened? He got fired. You know why? He was getting handsy with a female reporter. I think he tried to take a swing at her or something in Chicago. And then he's had all kinds of problems with females. And then he's involved with Kristi Noem. This has been something we've known for a long time. So when she got in, I knew it was going to happen. It's just like, how do you know what happens with Eric Adams and all his cronies and now Mamdani? How do you know? Because I should just be involved in government because I know these idiots. This I saw from a mile away, Jason. You can't have people like this in government for a reason. And what did you hear at this congressional hearing, which was, I mean, it was a shellacking like you've never seen before. You heard about some Mile High Club that's going on airplanes, Jason. And another thing you heard about is that I guess Corey Lewandowski is some special government employee. What does that even mean? A special?
Yeah, why? I understand with Elon Musk, I mean, they took him for a short time and he's the richest guy in the world and he was doing a specific thing. But why is Corey Lewandowski either just like hired or not hired?
We don't even know what he is. He's just basically the real life boyfriend of Kristi Noem, who's married. I don't know how that works. And they're up there, and you have to question whether, okay, is Corey Lewandowski using this jet on his own, which is a government-funded aircraft? We are paying for this. He is not a government employee, or is he? I don't know. We don't know anything. This sounds a lot like another administration that we used to talk about a lot, Jason, that ran New York City. And you now learned about a $143 million contract that was given to a political operative, which is a friend of Kristi Noem's, apparently.
This is a very huge deal. So you brought this to my attention. Other people were tweeting about this. So there's a media company that was formed. Actually, it came up at the hearing. I hadn't even seen that congressman before, but he was sharp. It's an LLC, another media company that came up out of nowhere. And 11 days after the LLC is formed, it gets a $143 million government contract. It definitely reeks of, grift, just somebody paying their friends. And then they made this commercial where she's, as they said in the hearing, cosplaying as DHS Barbie. I think Trump said, look, the optics of this are terrible. You're out.
Oh, it had, listen, and that there's $220 million that he said he never authorized. So like I told you, here's your problem. When you give jobs to people for patronage, she's one of those nice faces, goes on Fox. Trump is the greatest, no matter what, all that stuff that was going on. Tish James was to throw him in jail. So his idea is I'll get in and I'm going to put in my friends. I'll put her in. This woman, who's basically the soccer mom of Homeland Security, has no idea about anything regarding law enforcement. Anything. She was a governor. She's been a civilian. This is a post for someone who's has some sort of knowledge, was a lawyer. He did something. They did something in the background of Homeland Security or Homeland Security investigations, government, FBI, things like this. Some kind of, I was in the FBI, but I dealt with Homeland Security. This woman is a soccer mom. She was the governor of South Dakota. That's it. And that was a disaster because she was killing dogs and stuff in her backyard. She's completely unqualified for this position. And listen, I've had her right in front of me. She walked right by me. I've seen her right in front of me in the past. But
they brought that up too, the shooting the dog.
Oh, yeah, and the Corey Lewandowski stuff. You're having an affair. It's everybody knows about it. They've seen you out with this guy. Now he's running around. He's in the jet. God knows if he's using the jet as his personal taxi. Who knows? They didn't even get into that. But that's the first question you ask, because this guy is, I understand, he was taking phone calls for her as the guy running Homeland Security. So who the hell is this guy? No one elected him. Nobody appointed him to anything. But, these are the questions you need to ask. By the way, he's another Bannon crony, another Mr. Wonderful.
Lewandowski.
So all they're doing is they're putting her in a broom closet and saying, just disappear. And
they're making her this special envoy to the Shield of America. I mean, I think they do stuff like this because Trump doesn't want to be seen as, firing in disgust somebody who he recently hired. So they say, oh no, we're just, this person's going to be the ambassador to, Swaziland or something like that. Yeah. And then you just never see them again.
Yeah, it's just, the reality is she had to get fired. I was saying it on my own show. She needed to get fired. She should have got fired over the things that happened in Minnesota. She's in charge of Homeland Security. I mean, you're hiring people that are technically trained online for 1 month and throwing them to the wolves out in Minnesota. They don't even know what's right from wrong. There's you got to go through months of training if you're a Homeland Security special agent or even a Homeland Security officer. That's not what was going on there. Remember, she's in charge. But was she ever really calling the shots, Jason? That's the real question here.
And then the question now, though, becomes who takes over? Will Tom Homan become the head of Homeland Security?
Originally, and listen, he has his own thing where he took $50,000 in a briefcase and some kind of thing. I don't know what happened with that investigation, but I thought he would make the best fit as saying the head of Homeland Security. Trump likes him. He's another one that likes to go on a media run, but he's actually been out there but they didn't put him. That was the right position for him. You put a soccer mom in that has no idea. It's like the police department, the NYPD. You put someone who's unqualified for his position in there, and now you have a disaster on your hand. What a disastrous hearing that was. And now you have this whole government contract going to this. Yeah, let's talk about
LLC. That. So this guy right here has got to put the the trophy in the
Yes.
hunting room. This is Joe Negussi. He's the one who was talking about this $143 million no bid contract, which she's like, well, I don't know. Is there some problem with that? And this dude, we should listen to this because he did a good job of going off on her. Let's just listen to this.
That's inaccurate, Madam Secretary. I'll read from the notice from your agency. Given the immediate action to significantly reduce illegal immigration and border crossings, DHS identified 4 companies. 4 of the hundreds of thousands of companies in the United States. You identified 4. One of those is this Safe America Media company. Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
I'll tell you about it.
According to
Madam
law,
Secretary,
it
the
was done by career
address is
officials.
registered to a political
It was
operative.
dollars that were spent
Madam Secretary, the
to
company,
inform
and then I'll
people
give you an
that the
opportunity to
laws-
respond. The company is registered to a political operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out. You want the American people to believe that this is all above board?
Yes,
that $143 million of taxpayer money just happened to go to this one company that doesn't have a headquarters, doesn't have a website, has never done work for the federal government before, and is registered apparently or attached to a residence from a political operative. And of course, one of the subcontractors of that contract, as you know, is a political firm that's tied to you back when you were governor of South Dakota. The reason why
Unbelievable, Sal. I mean, this is like Mike Tyson 1988. We haven't seen a takedown like that in Congress. That was just, that's the end of her career right there. And frankly, if Trump is saying that she claimed that he gave some approval for something that he didn't, she's in a lot of trouble because she might have just lied to Congress.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. When you do these contracts, you then look for these kickbacks. She doesn't have any answers yet. She's the one that awarded it. She says, what's the problem? The problem is this isn't your money. It's taxpayer money. And you have to account for this. And she didn't. So if you really want to go after her, you can. Now, of course, we know the DOJ with guys like Todd Blanche and all these Bannon and Boris Epstein sycophants in there. You probably won't see anything, at least not yet. That doesn't mean that doesn't change if in 2 years from now you have a Democrat president or a Republican president that's not for the, what do you want to call these, MAGA sycophant grifter leftovers from this time period. Because I'm telling you, she got this job because she's a loyalist. She's been on TV, and this Corey Lewandowski is the problem. Because I guess Corey thought he could run Homeland Security because he's got hurt, and now this blew up in his face. And there were other questions the day prior about the Mile High Club. If you look up Mile High Club, that's the jet that has its own bedroom.
I saw the bedroom. Unbelievable. I'm still on Safe America Media here. So this is Department of Homeland Security. We've got the contract right here.
You're trying to find where you don't even, there's no website.
No website, but they did get the 142.8 million. Unbelievable. Professional scientific and technical services. Unbelievable.
For what?
I mean, they made that commercial or whatever, but still 143 million. You could have made Kristi Noem an Avatar for 143 million. That's a lot of money.
I think you could have done something for them real quick. You could have made a quick.
Yeah.
$50 you could have made, but it took $140 million of taxpayer money to create a commercial that was awful. And the only reason you're going to remember it is that you had someone who's incompetent and inept at her job giving you this money. And that's where the question's going to come out is, was there a kickback? Just like with a certain someone that was the mayor of New York City recently. Every question is always, is there a kickback? Was there something for
I think that's just it's the, you know, whenever they talk about conflicts of interest, it's like the appearance. It doesn't have to be that you have evidence. In other words, if they said, oh, this was an $800,000 contract to make a TV commercial, okay, fine. We need to travel to a location. There's editing, there's makeup, there's catering. 800,000, shoot a television commercial. 143 million?
I know. I'm still having trouble. $143 million. That's our money, Jason. It's your money.
I understand.
You
That's
pay
a
this
lot of
taxes
money.
to go to this crap, and then you're like, I can't buy a piece of bread. I could barely afford my mortgage.
You could
and my
get a
rent.
jet, Sal, with 143. Look at that. You could be riding in style. You want to go to the World Cup?
They're living like billionaires, and
know.
you're like, but you work for the government. And this is, by the way, I believe if you listen to the hearing, this is a plane that's supposed to bring deportees, meaning someone that's been deported. That's what this plane was about.
Come on.
Was for. Apparently, the deportees need a 5-star
This is like
bed.
Hugh
and all
Hefner.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're in a Playboy Mansion or something in there, and you're like, who authorized this? And this is why this woman cannot lead the charge. And if you, again, you know, I know they got rid of her. I'm sure they're going to go after Pam Bondi, and then, of course, Kash Patel. These are, and Bondi, though, is the one that, like, she has the resume to be the Attorney General, yet I don't know what she's doing. I really don't. There's no, her actions are inexcusable at this point.
Yeah, she had a lot of snafus when she was the Florida Attorney General. She played a role in that whole George Zimmerman mess with the Trayvon Martin, and that kind of kicked off Black Lives Matter and that guy Benjamin Crump. So I was very concerned about her, and she was a lobbyist. I mean, look, here's the thing, Sal. You were talking a lot on your show about these hairbag, you know, the Joe Cop people who are on you when it's not reported by the New York Post or whatever. And I mean, look, the point is, you said it, you cannot sycophantically follow people because they are aligned to Trump. And setting aside Trump entirely, we can't very well hold Democrats or the Clintons or Obama or Joe Biden or whoever it is. You can't hold people like that to account if you're just going to give Kristi Noem a pass for doing essentially the same exact thing.
Correct. And again, the problem with this would be with Kristi Noem, it's like you're just seeing now, we all have a problem with how police do things, especially before Trump got in office. You heard a lot about people, especially the MAGA people, complaining about how police departments are run and Homeland Security. Now you're running things, and it's kind of the same way, if not a right-wing version of what was going on. And they're all cheerleading. It's like, just like that. It's like your boss, your leader, your deity, your God, whatever he says, you just believe it and go with it and never ask any questions. You see a lot of this stuff, you know, talking about the Iran thing. So he came in, and we could go on and show videos of that. And Trump said, no new wars. World War III would be under Kamala Harris. I will never bring this to you. All this stuff. Then he's in office, and now we're seeing that. And these people now are turning around like sycophants. Well, they're making all the excuses, Jason. Every single one. Like, you gotta see these people. They're just making excuses left and right. And it's okay. We need this. Let's bomb this country. Let's bomb. Just
crazy.
A year before this guy got elected, you were saying no new wars. We don't want to do this. The Middle East is not a problem. We got to do the bare minimum. And now it's all in. Let's bomb everybody. It's like literally whatever this guy says. And that, Jason, is called what? That's a cult. You're in a cult, whether you want to admit it or not. I'm not in a cult. Yeah, I voted for the guy, but I'm certainly not going to say when he says blah, 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 blah. Yes. A lot of people out there are like that. And that's why what you're seeing is happening. And then he doesn't help himself when he puts people like Kristi Noem in Homeland Security, someone who's never, I don't even know why the Senate confirmed her. This is clearly a patronage club in itself. All these politicians, we know her. You know, she's been involved. She was a governor. Can I put a janitor as the head of a law enforcement agency and we'll all approve this too? because they surely have a ton of experience with that. I mean, that's really, you need to question the entire system here, how this even came about. And now all of these missteps happen, including 2 people that are no longer with us because they got, one was trying to run over an ICE agent, got killed, and another one took bullets from everyone in ICE, or they were contracted by ICE, all because this woman sent people out that were untrained. And
well, I don't want to blame her entirely. I don't want to blame her entirely because I do think that those
she's
people,
a leader.
She is the leader, but they raised some good points in her defense as well during that congressional testimony, and that it wasn't like these people were there holding signs and standing on a sidewalk away from where everything was going on. They were absolutely taunting those. I mean, I would not be crashing my car into the cops and taunting them and running around with a gun. When I taunt the cops, I'm very careful to keep my distance, keep my hands visible, make sure it's all on camera. I don't curse at them or spit on them. Or maybe I curse at them. I don't spit on them, and I don't attempt to fight them. I mean, that's really the difference. Sal, you were a cop for 14 years, and when somebody makes a move, you have to presume that they are going to hurt you. And when someone is hanging back and just blowing off steam, you can recognize that as well. So you mentioned Kash Patel. Now, Aaron Rodgers has ripped the FBI director for drinking booze in the hockey locker room. Have you ever been in a hockey locker room? It smells like a foot.
But you can't even... You can't do this. You can't be doing this on duty because you're consuming alcohol as the head of the, it just doesn't look good because there's agents that have taken a beating for getting involved in off-duty incidents like this. And now you're going to pass judgment on them. And meanwhile, it's the same thing as NYPD. When Eddie Caban was partying to the break of dawn with Jimmy Rodriguez every night. The same Jimmy Rodriguez, by the way, that Hillary Clinton had her Senate when she announced the run for Senate in New York. She did it in front of his laundromat, which is unbelievable to think.
Money laundromat.
A money laundromat.
And what about this? NYPD sergeant, you were ahead on this story as well.
Oh, yeah. All the Joe Coppers came out. The Joe Cop in the hairbag. And then they say, well, you disagree. You don't bring any logic to the table. You personally attack people. You always think you're right. Some people said, oh, well, listen, on the scene, this is probable cause. I come to a scene and I observe signs of intoxication from the driver of a vehicle, which, by the way, killed someone else. That's it. There's an arrest made. There isn't, let's wait for Letitia James to tell us to arrest her weeks later. Let's bring her to the hospital and act like we need to care about her because she's a off-duty police officer. No, there was a huge cover-up on the scene. People were calling. They suspended her, then unsuspended her, let her try to retire with a vested pension. It was ridiculous what was going on. But Joe Cop, the hairbag, you'll see them. They're the ones that rail against the system 24/7 and then do everything to protect it. And God forbid you are in these locker rooms or you're talking to one of these people, they will then say, what are you trying to do? Oh, we're going to browbeat you. I'll flip your locker. Maybe they follow you home. These guys are psychotic. Joe Cop, hairbag. But I dealt with that for 14 years. I don't have to deal with that anymore. If you could, you just knock them out in the locker room, but they'll call internal affairs. I make a big deal about it, but that's what they deserve. Broken teeth, maybe like a rewired jaw.
Advocate violence. You can't advocate violence.
But this is what happens because they're in your face. They jump on top of the bench with their hand in the air. Maybe they have a megaphone. They're trying to tell everybody what to do. They try to justify. They love justifying bad behavior.
Wow.
And then if someone else other than myself reports something like the Daily News the other day with the cop that was indicted for rape, there was another one, a cadet.
Oh, smoking meth. Wait, hang on. Let me stop you there because we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but we're just about to head over to the sponsor exclusive segment. People are going to be able to join us there on thesalgreco.substack.com. And I want to make sure that people know about that because this is Sal's new Substack page. You can see articles that he's posting there, the sponsor exclusive shows that we do, and it's a great way to support Sal. Week after week, we're seeing that there really I'm not just saying this. There's nobody who gets the inside information, not only in terms of the contacts that he has and the people that he knows, but in terms of understanding how the NYPD works, what should and should not happen. If you really want true analysis of what's going on that kind of granular level, you gotta support Sal. Go to thesalgreco.substack.com and hit him up there. You're going to be able to watch the sponsor exclusive segment. Of course, sponsors of Crowdsource the Truth on crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. You're going to get to see it there as well. People who follow me on X at JG_CSTT can also get it.